The Daniel J. Kane Religious Communication Award is presented by the University of Dayton's Institute for Pastoral Initiatives to individuals who have made significant national or international contributions for pioneering and advancing excellence in Catholic communications. The award is named after the former Director of Communications for the Archdiocese of Cincinnati, Dan Kane, who was a pioneer in Catholic communications and a national prophetic leader in social action. It is our honor this evening to recognize Sean Patrick Lovett as a 2013 recipient of the Daniel J. Kane Award. We also want to extend a special welcome to Sean Patrick's mother, Patricia Lovett, who has come to celebrate this evening with us all the way from South Africa. Welcome, Mrs. Lovett. Sean Patrick Lovett is the director of Vatican Radio English Section and professor of communication at the Pontifical Gregorian University in Rome. He received his education at the University of Cape Town, South Africa, and the National Academy in Rome. He has a doctorate in communications honoris causa from the American University of Rome as well. Sean Patrick Lovett began working at Vatican Radio under Pope Paul VI in 1977 and later served as a war correspondent in the 1980s in Lebanon, South Africa, and Northern Ireland. He followed Pope John Paul II on many of his international pilgrimages for 26 years as a Vatican reporter. In addition to his appointment at the Pontifical Gregorian University, Sean Patrick is vice president of the Centre de Recherche and Communication in Lyon, France, coordinating media and communications workshops in Africa for the Catholic Church. He has given workshops, seminars, and lectures on various aspects of Catholic communications, particularly to those who are in leadership and ministry formation within the Catholic Church around the world. He brings breadth and depth of practical wisdom, global perspective, ecclesial understanding, and enjoyable humor to his ministry within the Church. His political and religious sensibility within the context of the Church has brought him the admiration of thousands worldwide. He has done voiceovers for dozens of films, cartoons, and documentaries. Many of us remember his work with Mother Teresa of Calcutta to write The Best Gift is Love, a best-selling book of Mother Teresa's meditations. For the last 7 years, Sean Patrick has met with our University of Dayton Chaminade scholars on their annual art, culture, and spirituality immersion to Rome. He has graciously introduced our students to the vision and mission of Vatican Radio and deepened their appreciation for the vast reach of Vatican Radio's messages around the world. His love for the Church and his vocation as a Catholic communicator are an inspiration to our students and to the rest of us. Sean Patrick imprints an everlasting memory in the lives of our students as a model of excellence in their vocation in life. The Daniel J. Kane Award is designed by Marinus brother Mel Meyer. The sculpture reflects the University of Dayton's dedication to Mary, the Mother of Jesus. The brushed metal figures of Mary and Jesus reflect the simplicity and strength of Mary's commitment. It is within this spirit that we at the university strongly believe that lifelong faith formation can transform society if people work together in common mission. Along with the sculpture, a donation is being made in Sean Patrick Lovett's name to a scholarship fund to support individuals in the Caribbean and Asia in financial need so that they are able to participate in the virtual learning community for faith formation. On behalf of Dr. Daniel Curran, president of the University of Dayton, I'm pleased to present you, Sean Patrick Lovett, with the University of Dayton's 2013 Daniel J. Kane Religious Communication Award.
In preparation before Sean says a few words with us, his thanks and also a short presentation, he has brought to us a video, because we ask our guests to bring a video, our honorees, to have us a sense about what their ministry is all about. So he has brought a video on the Vatican Radio. So those of you who may not know the breadth and the depth of what Vatican Radio is, we're going to show this video now.
Here in this building inside the Vatican Gardens is where the Vatican radio station was born. It was the brainchild of Achille Ratti, known to the world as Pope Pius XI. At 10 minutes to 5 on the afternoon of February 12, 1931, Pope Pius XI arrived at the radio station inside Vatican City. It was left to Guglielmo Marconi to introduce the first ever radio message by a pope to the world.
Ho l'altissimo onore di annunziare
The phenomenon of papal trips abroad began with Pope Paul VI. His visit to the Holy Land and his address to the United Nations in New York are part of history. Vatican Radio, too, ventured outside the confines of Rome to follow the Pope and to ensure that his message of peace and understanding reached the furthest ends of the earth. 1978, the year of 3 popes. The death of Paul VI in August of that year was followed by the 33-day pontificate of Albino Luciani, Pope John Paul I. Then the surprise election of the first non-Italian in 455 years, Karol Wojtyła, Pope John Paul II. His pontificate marked the time of greatest change and of challenge for the Pope's radio. Called to follow John Paul II on his 146 apostolic trips around Italy and on his 104 voyages around the world, Vatican Radio discovered talents and resources it hadn't known it possessed. Meanwhile, modern technology was moving ahead by leaps and bounds. Computers were leaving typewriters behind, and digital systems were rapidly replacing all things analogical. Reel-to-reel tape recorders disappeared from studios as the information technology revolution took hold. One of Vatican Radio's official responsibilities is that of recording and relaying the sound of all papal events in the Vatican. It then makes this sound available to radio stations and television networks that request it. The Vatican Television Center does the same thing with regard to images and pictures of papal activities. The integration of these services of documentation and communication by Vatican Radio and TV proved indispensable during the hectic days surrounding the death of Pope John Paul II and the election of Pope Benedict XVI.
Today, the voice of Vatican Radio can reach every part of the world. It can enter many homes, and, above all, there's a lovely reciprocity. Not only speaking, but listening to the replies in a true dialogue in order to understand, to respond, and so to build the family of God.
Good afternoon. If you recognize the voice of Pope Benedict XVI, it's actually me. I'd really like to thank Dean Paul Benson, the University of Dayton, President Daniel Curran, the faculty, the staff, the students, the Chaminade students, all of you who've come from so many different parts of the United States and different parts of the world to be here this evening, which is incredibly special to me. A journalist doing an interview with me this afternoon asked what this award meant to me. Was I moved by it? Yes, I am moved by it. Being awarded, being recognized for something is not something one takes for granted. It's something extraordinarily special, and this piece of art is absolutely beautiful. It's going to find a very special place in the Vatican. I'm told that I have to give a presentation. Is that right, Sister Angela? Anne. And yes, all right then. Here goes. In Italy, where I come from, there's a phrase which goes, anybody understand Italian here? Ecco, allora, Mr. Ambassador, how wonderful to see you. Welcome back. Now I feel really, yes, okay. Good. Now I have to be careful what I'm going to say. Okay. There's a phrase in Italy that goes, dare I numeri. And to dare I numeri in Italian does not translate literally as in to give the numbers in a lottery game. It translates as to lose your marbles, to go crazy, to go nuts, to go cuckoo. And I have to say that ever since I was told that I was going to be receiving this prestigious Daniel J. Kane Award, I have been dando I numeri. I've been going crazy as to think, well, what am I going to say? You see, the downside of winning any communications award is that people expect you to be able to communicate. They expect you to be able to stand up there and say really interesting and exciting and important things, which is tough. So ever since then, I've been asking myself, well, what am I doing here? Well, now that I am here, I feel that the best response is to give you the numbers, to dare I numeri, both literally and symbolically. And I want to start with the number 5. Number 5 is the number of humanity. It's the number of the human body, with its 5 extensions, and its 5 extensions on its 5 extensions, and those wonderful 5 things that we use to feel and perceive and to know and understand that we are truly alive. We call them the senses. And then, of course, you in the philosophy and theology departments, you know about the 5 virtues and the... yes, we won't go there. Number 5 is the number of creativity. It's the number of communication. And so, with your permission, I'd like to share with you the 5 reasons why I don't feel I deserve the Daniel J. Kane Award. The first of these, I'm too young. It says it's a Lifetime Achievement Award. I mean, I've only just started. I know Jodie Foster got one the other day at the Golden Globes, but I mean, I don't have that much in common with Jodie Foster, do I? Number 2, I'm really not tall enough either. Now, I mean, 5'7" and shrinking, especially in the United States where everything is about eye contact and effective communication. I remember once when I met Al Gore, and it was a case of, nice belt. Oh, there you are, Mr. Vice President. Hello. Yeah. The only time I ever had some inkling of a vocation when I was young was when I used to look up into the pulpit, and I would think, wouldn't that be cool to be able to look down from there and talk to people from up there? But then they took the pulpit away, and they took my vocation away with it, so that was the end of that. No, so third reason why I don't think I deserve it. Can we talk here? I really don't think I'm good enough Catholic. Yes, I go to Mass. Sometimes I fall asleep during the homily, but it's not always my fault. But I still have trouble remembering the 10 Commandments. I mean, I remember the first 2. They're wonderful. Love God and love your neighbor. It does depend on who your neighbor is, but still they're easy to remember. It's the 6th and the 9th that I still get mixed up. You'd say at my age, why would that matter? But it does. Anyway, number 4. I don't really know that much about communication. Now, I'm not being silly here. If you think how quickly communication is moving and how quickly things are changing, just when I think I've got it and understand it, something changes and I don't understand it anymore. Now, when I was young, it was much easier. I could go to my father's radio, take out the screwdriver, take the back off, and figure out how it worked. Nowadays, if my radio breaks, I throw it away and then spend a huge amount of money buying another one, which costs twice as much as the one I just threw away. The fact is that at this stage in my life, I'm so... What I do is so much what I am that I really can't tell the difference. we're still trying. Number 5, it's not really about me anyway, is it? Communication, as the word implies, is about communion and community. It's about sharing. And it's okay, the reason I am going to accept it. And the reason why I have decided to accept it is because the best thing about this award is that I'm going to be able to share it through a donation made in my name to a scholarship for needy students somewhere who hopefully will become the great communicator that I would always have liked to be. So, why am I here? Maybe it's because I've been doing what I do for such a long time. I've been working in the Vatican for 35 years. 30 years as the director of English programming for Vatican Radio. And so I'm guessing one of the reasons I'm here is because you're curious to know how I've survived so long. And probably because there are all sorts of questions that you'd like to ask me, but you're just too shy, right? Well, don't be, because you wouldn't believe the kind of questions I get asked. No, it's not true. The Pope does not eat eggs Benedict for breakfast. And yes, it is true. The butler did it. So, yeah, I wasn't sure I was going to say that, but, it's... okay. Now, as a matter of fact, there are really only 5 questions that I get asked. Oh, there's that number again. 5 questions that I get asked all the time. First question, why do you do what you do? And that's a question I ask myself every day. It's the easiest of all the questions, because I compare working in Catholic communications to being a mountaineer. And anybody who's ever worked in Catholic communications should understand what I mean. It's like climbing a mountain. If you ask a mountaineer, why do you climb the mountain? The answer is, 1, it's there. 2, someone has to do it. 3, I can't help myself. And 4, the view is so fabulous that it has to be seen to be believed. That's why I do what I do. Second question, you must have met some extraordinary people in your career. Yes, I have, princes and presidents and saints and sinners. Who are the ones who've impressed you most? Well, unfortunately, it's mostly the sinners, but we don't want to talk about that here, do we? People who ask that question usually want me to talk about the popes in general and John Paul II in particular. I spent 26 years working with him. They want me to talk about Mother Teresa of Calcutta. And yes, of course, I was hugely impressed. They both of them played a very big part in my life. John Paul II because of his coherence. He was a man who said what he thought and who lived what he said. Mother Teresa because she taught me the power of the senses, the power of touch, her pragmatism. A journalist once asked me if I've ever seen Mother Teresa levitate. Mother Teresa levitate? She was the most down-to-earth person I ever encountered in my life. People who've impressed me, yes. One of my prized possessions is the autographed edition of Nelson Mandela's autobiography, which he gave me in Johannesburg. How could I not have been impressed when, during an interview, Charlton Heston took off his wig to show me how his bald therapy was actually working? Then there are people like Sister Angela Ann Zukowski, who is such a shining example of perseverance and courage that goes way above and beyond the call of duty. Thank you, Sister Angela Ann. But yes. But you know, the people who've impressed me most, the people who've left the biggest impression on me in my life, I don't think you'd know who they are. They're the people I've met in Africa, who spend their days burying babies who've died of HIV/AIDS in unmarked, hand-dug graves. They're the people I've met in Latin America, who spend their nights crawling about on garbage heaps, trying to protect the niños de rua from the police and predators. They're the mothers and fathers who get up every morning of their lives, to wash and dress and feed their mentally or physically disabled children. They're the people who communicate consolation and comfort by just sitting in silence and holding your hand when you need it. The world doesn't know their names. I do. Question 3. What's the biggest challenge of Catholic communications today? Good. How long do we have? Not very long? Okay, then we'll limit it to just a few words. Biggest challenge to Catholic communications, speed, structures, and stereotypes. Speed. Contrary to popular imagination, the Catholic Church does still think in terms of centuries, whereas social media tends to react in terms of seconds, and we still haven't figured out that ratio. Structures, whether you like it or not, yes, the Catholic Church and the Vatican in particular really is a pyramid, whereas social media really is a sphere. And I don't believe that the two are utterly incompatible, but it will take creativity and courage to get the two together. Stereotypes. John Paul II used to use the image of the church as being like a glass house. It's a wonderful symbolic image because you can see in, but you can also see out. It's not just about transparency, though. It's about vulnerability. And if we don't stop thinking in terms of stereotypes, the way the church sees the world and the way the world sees the church, and we don't stop throwing stones at each other, the glass house won't be able to stand for very much longer. 4. You worked with 4 popes. Who was your favorite? That's the question I hate most. I mean, it's like asking an Italian, what's your favorite pasta dish? It's like asking a parent, which is your favorite child? You can't. They're different, that's all. Paul VI taught me the dignity of the papacy. John Paul I taught me the humanity of the papacy. John Paul II taught me geography. Benedict XVI is teaching me how to listen. But since you ask, yes, I do have a favorite. John Paul I. And it gives me great joy to be able to mention him here today. You know, we were so overwhelmed by the star, the 26-year star of John Paul II, that even when I speak to our students today at Dayton University, who was the Pope before John Paul II? You mean there was a Pope before John Paul II? How could there have been a John Paul II if there wasn't a John Paul I? John Paul I opened the door. John Paul I allowed John Paul II to be. John Paul I, in his 33 days, was the man who stepped down from the throne. He was the man who took off the crown. He was the man who addressed us, not as children, but as sisters and brothers. He was the man who talked to us about God, not as an authoritarian father figure, but as a mother who loves us unconditionally. That's why they say they killed him. Yes. Number 5. 5th question. What have been the most extraordinary and exciting moments of your career in the Vatican? Well, most of the most extraordinary, exciting moments of my career have been outside the Vatican, but that's another story. Inside the Vatican, yes, of course, traveling in John Paul II's helicopter up to Fort Simpson in Canada's Northwest Territories to meet the First Nation people and to celebrate Mass on an altar under a massive teepee. I mean, how exciting can that get? Extraordinary to be in St. Peter's Square on May the 13th, 1981, when the unthinkable happened and a man pulled out a gun and tried to shoot the Pope. Extraordinary to have been involved in radio and television commentaries for the funeral of Paul VI, the election of John Paul I, the funeral, all the way through. Yes, I did lose it during the beatification of John Paul II. It was a very moving moment to do the television commentary for that. But I have lived my life outside the Vatican too. And being a war correspondent in the early 1980s was pretty exciting. Dodging sniper bullets in Beirut, dodging landmines in Liberia, being led blindfold down a staircase into a cellar in Belfast by armed IRA militants to interview the renegade head of Sinn Féin, smuggling stolen videotapes from communist East Germany through the Berlin Wall, getting death threats while covering anti-apartheid demonstrations in Soweto alongside Archbishop Desmond Tutu. And what to say about the biggest adrenaline rush of them all? Teaching. At universities, seminaries, schools, in Asia, Africa, and here at Dayton, Ohio this afternoon. Seeing those beautiful, young, curious eyes widening with renewed awareness and understanding as you help them to put together just enough pieces of the jigsaw. You help them to connect just enough dots so they begin to see the big picture and they experience that moment not only of knowledge but of understanding. But if you really want to know the most exciting moment of my life so far, thank you. Just making sure someone's awake in the room. It was being present and participating at the birth of my two sons, Damien and Julian, standing there in the birthing room and experiencing this moment of life and counting their 10 little fingers and their 10 little toes to make sure they were all there. They're my greatest communications teachers still today because they're the ones that keep me with my feet on the ground and continue to challenge me and make sure that what I think I say and that what I say I live. So, why am I here? Probably has more to do with another number. It's number 3. Number 3 is the number of divinity. It's the Trinity. It's the shamrock, if you don't mind. It's the number of unity. It's the number of completion. 3 is the fount of knowledge, thought, intuition, and learning. So to conclude, allow me to share with you the 3 things that I have learned in my 35 years of active service as a church communicator. 1, do not take yourself seriously. No one else will. 2, stop asking yourself why you do it and do it with all your heart and with all your mind and with all your strength. 3, believe in technology, but don't sell your soul to it. It will change, and no amount of technology will ever be worth 1 ounce of that divine spark of human creativity that is in every one of you. So there you have it. I've given you the numbers. All except 1. 3 plus 5 makes 8. And 8 is the number of Jesus, which is why a baptismal font has 8 sides. Jesus, perfectly human, perfectly divine. Jesus, the symbol of sharing, of dialogue, the perfect communicator. At the end of the day, there's only one reason why I'm here. It's him. He's the one. Thank you.